Hey there. I thought I would do something different for me and show myself to you, which I'm still wondering if that's the right thing to do. I don't know why people do this all the time and they never feel weird about it, but I do. But here I am with a martini on the rocks because it's Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. It's been one of those weeks so far. So I just did a reading on a Halloween spread that I just whipped up. This has been my thing because I'm so happy it's fall. This summer was not fun in many ways, and this fall is damn well gonna be. And so I've been celebrating that by doing a different Halloween themed spread every day. So I just did one called the broomstick spread, and it's about a situation that isn't working and how to sweep it away. But in that reading, I recognized something that I had been doing, and I thought it might be useful because it in a way kind of replaces what I've been doing. It replaces reversals. It's what I've been doing to replace reversals, and I've kind of eliminated reversals more or less entirely from my spreads for a couple reasons. One, honestly, is purely aesthetic. I just feel like the artists work really hard on their art and they don't necessarily want us to look at it upside down. Uh, which, it's a utilitarian art in its way. So I guess that's just part of the process. But I don't know. That's one reason. The other reason is that it just felt too easy sometimes to go to just the opposite of a card meaning, which it doesn't add the color that you want all the time. And so what I've been doing instead is thinking about context. And in the past few months, kind of returning to this world for me after a brief hiatus, because I do that from time to time, I sat down and I said, all right, I've never really codified my card meanings. And what I realized I had done was I had given positive and negative meanings to cards, regardless of whether they're traditionally perceived as positive or negative. For example, with the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Bats in this particular deck, it can mean bondage, it can mean feeling trapped, it can mean being stuck, but it also could mean shutting the world outside in kind of a hermitish way. It's sort of a minor arcana hermit card in its way, to meditate, to close out the world and to think and just be alone with your thoughts. So there is a positive bent to that card if you want to look at it that way. Same thing with the Nine of Swords, which can be very negative. It can be about nightmares and anxiety for me. This is like the quintessence of anxiety, because I am an anxiety riddled person. And this, to me, this card sums that up. But swords are about communication and the mind. And so to a degree, this could mean telling scary stories. Now, that's a stretch, sure, but if there were a writer who came to me and was stuck and this card came up, I might say, start writing some horror fiction. But if that's the case with the bad cards, we can't neutralize the whole deck by making everything positive. So the traditionally positive cards need their negative meanings as well. And so in the reading I just did, it was about a situation. The broomstick spread is essentially a situation. The handle is the situation, and the brush is how to sweep it away. So it's something that's not working anymore that we need to sweep away. So it started with the chariot, and I read this in its traditional sense of bringing together a lot of energies in order to move forward and push forward on a project in this case, followed by the Three of Imps, which in a positive reading, in a situation where we were looking at something that was working well, these two cards would actually be nice together because on a really deep life level, we've started a project, and also in the practical, like vocational, work related aspects of things, we've kind of brought things together. But this is a situation that's not working. So I read the chariot the way I always did, and then what I did with this was I said, well, what could this mean in a negative way? And what I see is someone not really doing much of anything and watching things happen. So the initial burst of energy and bringing together to push forward has kind of stagnated into like planning meetings where we're talking about what we're going to do. And then the third card in the handle, it's a 3-card handle, was the Three of Cups. And I read it sort of in its traditional way. I said it was about a party, it was about, good times. But in the combination of the three, where the chariot was the initial burst of energy, this was a stagnating of that energy to like talk about what we're going to do and plan. And then the Three of Cups became just an excuse to party. So while the initial burst of energy was there, it quickly turned into just planning meetings that then turned into just excuses to get together and drink, which I have had happen in my creative life. So context in this case, not reversals, made me look at these cards in a different way. For me, that's a little bit more nuanced than just, oh, the card's upside down. It means the opposite of what it usually means. To a degree, I did read the Three of Wands, or in this case, the Three of Imps, upside down in its opposite way. But it came out of the context of the reading, knowing that it had to be something that wasn't working. And so, how does this usually really creative card at the beginning of a project become something negative? Well, it becomes someone who's watching others do the work. It becomes a situation where the work isn't getting done, they're just fantasizing about it. And then the Three of Cups, which is usually really nice because it's about being social and connected and, having a relationship, just becomes an excuse to party. And so what and one of the things I have for this card in my notes is enabling. So you could have a group of people that are like, nah, you don't drink too much. Come over and have a bottle of wine with me. You know. So yes, good stuff and negative. So that's just a small sample of how I think about context and how I still use reversals from time to time because it feels good. It feels like I'm leaving something, like I'm cheating when I don't use them, except when I don't use them, the color I get out of the cards feels deeper. So I thought I'd share that. I thought I'd share myself. Why not? Everyone else is doing it. All the cool kids are doing it. So there's that. And yeah, I hope you like this. I look forward to another Halloween themed reading tomorrow. Working on what that'll be. So have an awesome night and happy October. Happy autumn.